Since you ask sincere questions, you put yourself on the path to look for the truth. It is that path will bring you to meet the right people, to bring you to meet the right teachers, to meet the right workshops, lectures, conferences. You will no longer just wander in your life. You meet every person, every situation, every lecture, because there is answer that you are seeking. Quickly about myself, my name is Juliann Liu. I was originally born and grown up in China in the southwest. It's a region where it's famous for mountains, pandas, bamboos, and spicy food. And I personally love Kung Fu since I was young, but at that time, in my age, there was no Kung Fu Panda. Since I introduced myself, sometimes I linked with Panda and Kung Fu. And I was in the business world after graduation. I studied business management, and I was manager and manage a team. And somehow, maybe many of you we already have experienced, or we at least saw some friends or our colleagues or even our manager already experienced that. I had a moment of a health crisis, I would say. It's one kind of like mental health crisis and also physically. And during that time, I was working in France, and I was operated twice for my body. And during 2 months, that was quite a shock for me because I was very sportive. I was very sportive in basketball, taekwondo, karate, tennis, swim, any sports you can name it, because I was working in a sports company. And somehow that period of shock was a moment of transition or awakening for me. Because imagine I was 28 years old at that time, 13 years ago, and I was lying down in the bed, and next to me is, I remember very well, a woman more older than 60 years old. And during the night, she was screaming and crying and complaining because of the unbearable pain. And suddenly in the middle of the night, I was asking myself, wow, what is going wrong in my life? I'm sitting or lying down next to a woman, and I'm just only 28 years old. And what is the meaning of my life? And what is most important in my life? And you know, at that time I was lucky because I don't have smartphone. It was 2009, and you don't have laptop to work at that time. So you have nowhere to hide. You can only face the reality of your life by asking these important questions that you can run away during your daily work, during your so-called busy life. You don't want to ask these important questions because you have so many activities, parties, and sports that you can kill your time. And during that time, I realized when we say kill our time, it's also a way that we kill our life. And I didn't, to be honest, find an answer during that moment lying in bed and during doing surgeries. But starting to ask these important questions, that's why I ask you, what is your intention to be here? Because as a coach, many years later, I realized the most important is not to find the answer. The most important is that you sincerely to ask good questions. And also in companies, because later I go back to business world to deliver workshops for leaders, directors. And as a leader, one of the great management master, Peter, said, the greatest leader is not the leader who gives answers, but the leader who asks the right questions. So to make the long story short, Since you ask sincere questions, you put yourself on the path to look for the truth. And it is that path will bring you to meet the right people, to bring you to meet the right teachers, to meet the right workshops, lectures, conferences. You will no longer just wander in your life. You meet every person, every situation, every lecture, because there is answer that you are seeking. And as Rumi said, what you are seeking is also seeking you. So just to briefly answer your questions.